after. So again, so excited to have both Erlene and Prima with us. So let me start out by just asking a little bit about your journey. What's led you to have such passion around helping businesses with technology shortcuts? And let's start with you, Erlene.
Well, I came up through the tech ranks. I worked in corporate as a systems solutions architect on large mainframe computer systems. But even in that journey, I had that unique gift to be able to take the complex and make it simple. I could talk to the user who just wanted to push a button and have it work, and I could translate that to the geeky guy who says, just tell me how to code it. And so that translation has kind of been along my journey forever. And as much as I wanted to be able to help others be able to do that, I realized that that was some of my unique gifting, is that I can just take the complex things and make them very simple. As I continued down the road, opportunity to take early retirement, there was some financial benefits to doing that. And at that point, I started my entrepreneurial journey. And I came especially to be aware of how my gifts benefit businesses when COVID hit. For me, I'd been using Zoom for a while. Several people had, but it was one of those things that I had a number of clients who were in-person networking groups, in-person yoga studios, all those kinds of things. And I came to appreciate how things that were so easy for me were really hard for other people. And so that's where I started the path of creating those simple solutions and helping guide them in a way that allowed them to stay in business. My yoga instructor is now, she has workshops she does internationally. She's been asked to speak on a number of stages because she's also trauma informed. And so there has been so much power as a result of being able to help her get over the fear of technology and turn it into her friend.
I love that. What about you, Prima? What led you to have such passion around AI and helping business leaders and business owners and founders really harness the power of AI?
So I started my career as a programmer, actually, and while in my career, I coached junior developers, and I even trained the users. So I was like, okay, I can do both. And whenever somebody was asking me something, I was just finding it easy to explain. And so this came into my mind that if I can do IT, why not AI? Because AI simplifies life much more. So I just thought, let me get into AI because, for coding, you need like 10 hours, 8 hours per day. But for AI, I don't need that much time because everything is much more automated. So I thought, let's dive into AI and help others.
I love that. Thank you so much. So that gives a little context for how Erlene and Prima got to the position of being able to coach, counsel, instruct business owners, business leaders, business founders in this can be very complex arena of AI and technology. And I will tell you, as a business owner, it can seem overwhelming to determine the very best bang for your effort, your optimization buck. And ideally, you want to automate processes that will reduce manual steps, increase productivity, increase speed, and machine learning and automation and intelligence tools such as process discovery, task mining can definitely help identify and automatically build the highest ROI automations. But how do you begin to select which processes in your business to automate? How do you know, wow, if I automated outbound marketing, that would save me 20 hours a week, which then I could transfer into operational efficiencies. But how do you know what to begin with when you select the processes to begin the automation workflow? Let's start with Erlene.
I think there's a couple things that come to mind as you look at how you select things. One question is, what are all of those things that you're doing repeatedly that are taking up a good chunk of time every day? And so it's as you start looking at those topics, then that becomes the question of where you start looking. But one of the other things that, as I think about automation, is it can be really easy to believe you have a you have a tool that does one thing really well, and you have this other tool that does another thing really well, and then you have to take and translate between this tool and a second tool to be able to make them talk to each other. And so in some cases, the automation comes with choosing the right tools that allow you to integrate all of your automation in a single place, as opposed to having a lot of disparate tools. One of the other reasons that that can be important is that developers make changes on an ongoing basis. I know Prima, having come in through the development rank, knows that. And when they do that, they don't always think about downstream implications. And so a change to one tool can have a ripple effect on others. So where you're trying to make 2 or 3 tools work together, then in that automate, even where you may have automated that, they can break along the way because one makes an upgrade that seemingly shouldn't have impacted anything else, but all of a sudden things are broken for you. So automation comes, I think, in a couple forms. One is what's taking a lot of repeated tasks, but what are all of the pieces, parts that you have, kind of random things all pieced together, and looking at how you can bring those together in a tool that does more of an all-in-one type automation for you as well.
Yeah, I love that, because as you begin to build automation, you don't want to all of a sudden have 45 new tools that somehow you've got to piece together. You have to ensure that they're talking to each other and they're transferring data one to another. And that in of itself can have some headaches and breakdowns, right? So smart, love that. Prima, what about you? What would you recommend to a business owner, an entrepreneur, a business founder about how they select which processes in their business, their unique business, are best to automate?
When things becomes boring, like you do repetitive things every day, then you know that it should be automated. And like when you think of being automated, you should think of it as a whole, as an integral part of a whole system. You can't just like, if you find, for example, 2 processes that you have to automate, you should automate one process first and see how it goes, how it get integrated into the system. Then you keep on like gradually you keep on automating processes. Otherwise, if you automate everything, it will be a mess. Like, find which is the boring task that you are finding every day, and then find 2 or 3 maybe, or even one. Then start by automating it while testing it in parallel, because if you don't test it in parallel, it will never work out.
I love that. You know, that actually brings up the idea of risk. And I'm going to hop to a topic that both of you touched on, and that is the risks in automation and AI. Because if you choose the wrong tools, if you choose tools that don't speak to each other, if you focus on the wrong tasks to automate, you're actually introducing more work. You're actually introducing more risk into the business because systems can fail. So what are some of the biggest risks that business owners make with AI integration and the automation of different projects in a business setting? What are some of the most common mistakes that you've seen business owners make in managing risk, in bringing in automation platforms and bringing in AI solutions? Let's start with you, Prima.
Okay, so the risk is really because there are so many AI tools right now. It's so difficult to to understand which AI tool you have to get into your system. This is the really biggest risk I find. But then at the same time, you have to document your process in such a way that whenever you're approaching somebody to find the right tool, you should see that your documentation, what you're used to do, reflects that the features of that AI tool. So this is very important, that you document what your repetitive process was, and then you adjust, and then see which AI tool adapt to these requirements. Yeah.
Got you. So I love that. One way of reducing risk is documenting what you're trying to automate or what you're trying to solve for, being very clear about the business requirements and the criteria for automation and for AI, and then doing a very informed selection process for the AI tools that you're considering. Because as you said, there's a
Yeah.
plethora of AI tools, and you want to
It's
make sure
crazy.
that you are choosing the right tool for the right reason. So you've got to evaluate all the AI tools against a business set of requirements and criteria. So smart.
Yes.
I love that. And what about you, Erlene? What are some of the biggest risks that business owners make with AI integrations and automation projects, and some of the most common mistakes that you've seen?
Yeah, there's a couple things that come to mind, and I think you both really kind of touched on one of them, and that is beginning with the end in mind. I love the Stephen Covey quote of begin with the end in mind. And the point there is understanding where you're going allows you to choose the right tool. One of the other big risks is that businesses sometimes overlook the cost of time. It's easy to get drawn into all the free tools out there that allow you to do it free or cheap and lose sight of the cost that you're investing in your time and all of those other things. And so when it's looking at automation, it's easy to get drawn into here's all of these tools, and suddenly you have this jumbled mess of tools that you're not sure how or where to even start. And so now you're hit with all of the overwhelm of even dealing with how do I even choose the right tool, as opposed to starting again with where am I trying to go, and then looking at what are the best tools that are going to help me get there. And honestly, there are times that the free tools are the most costly. Those are the ones you sign up for, and you have them sitting around doing nothing. Or you keep thinking, I need to go over there and look at that and play with that. And so now you're spending time on trying to figure this tool out, as opposed to the time that you could be investing in your business. And then energetically, all of those extra things that you have sitting in your, you can think about it as clutter in your room. It's the same thing in your electronic space or your brain space. All of that eats up energy, which is a huge impact as well. And so I think that in a lot of ways, as you look at that, some of it comes down to there are too many tools out there that are so easy, or they're implied to be easy. Reality is, for a techie brain, a lot of things like go high level and other things we've been talking about, for me, they're very intuitive. For the developer, it was pretty intuitive. For the general user who doesn't really like technology but knows it's a necessary evil in their business, it can be very complicated, very complex, and very hard to deal with.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that a lot of times it's easy as a lifetime learner to get attracted to all the new shiny things, right? So if you are someone who is a lifetime learner, you're always interested in what's on the horizon. You're always interested in staying on the cutting edge. It's really easy to get distracted and just chase after every single new shiny thing. And it's not about using tools for the sake of having tools. It's about solving a business problem. It's about solving a business issue in the most effective and efficient manner. And if a particular tool is not working for you, then stop, right? I love that. And that leads us to our next question, which is automation is not the right answer for every challenge. More complex or human-centered processes actually require some sort of complementary technology like workflow automation, automated document creation, e-signatures, but you need a partner that can analyze your organization as a whole and then recommend where to use automation, where to apply AI, and where to use other solutions. So again, not all systems, processes, procedures need automation or should be automated. Not every initiative really should be solved through AI. You know, we hear a lot about ChatGPT and the ability for ChatGPT to be very intuitive in writing, whether that's writing emails or blogs or articles or positioning statements or business strategy. I mean, it can be used for a lot of things, but I'm not sure that's always the right answer for every challenge. I'm not sure that's always the right answer for a business, because the business should be unique and reflecting their identity, their brand, their positioning in a really, really distinctive way. And so I think even as you use AI, you have to be sure that you have oversight into that technology, into that solution, into that automation. So how do you know if you're using the right tools to automate? How do you know whether you should not automate and use AI for certain complex or human-centered processes, but require complementary technology for those things that can be used with an AI or a automation solution? So how do you know if you're using the right tools to automate? So, Erlene, let's start with you.
Well, one of the things that as you started out, is you talked about the complex human-centered processes. And I think it's important, as good as AI is getting in sounding human, we're still in the business of building relationships. And so if what you're thinking you want to automate because it's eating up time is one of the best relationship building activities you have, then that's probably not the one to start with. Even though AI may feel like it's doing a really good job acting like it's you, people are getting more and more in tune to what AI is doing, and they suddenly are realizing that they've gotten into some bot that's giving them answers that looks like it's human, but in reality it's not. And, you know, and the kind of taking that the next step, at the point where you've had the going back and forth activity, you haven't necessarily been creating that energetic bond with that individual. And as a result, you don't have the same level of connection once you actually start talking to them in person, as opposed to using all of your automation in the background. So I think that one of the biggest challenges is not to try and automate those things that really are human things, as much as there are a lot of people out there who like to say, you know, you can automate this and just imagine what more it does for your business. But sometimes that relationship building is the thing that takes your business farther forward than the fact that you were able to talk to more people within a shorter period of time.
I love that. So you have to safeguard against losing the personal connection and the personal relationship with prospective customers and clients, as well as existing customers and clients. Really smart. Now, you know, I would also say, Prima, that often you need a partner that can help you analyze your organization as a whole, and then recommend where to use automation, where to use AI. So how do you help your clients do that? How do you know if you're using the right tools to automate certain systems and functions and processes?
The very first thing that I do, you know, there is an AI tool which I recommend to many of my customers. It's about file sharing and collaborating among your teams. And this is one of the tool that I really love because it really helps you organize. And when you get organized, then you know which thing is going repetitively, which thing is personally connected, humanly connected, and which process you need to automate and which process not to. So I think AI is there. We should not let it control us. It's we who control AI. So it's if we understand that mindset, I think we will go in the right direction, because many of us think that, oh, AI will do that, AI will do that. No, AI won't do anything unless you tell him, oh, how, what to do and what not to do. So it's very important for us to, because we are human, to keep that human connection here, but then to automate those processes which are not like, which is really boring and repetitive, like where we don't need, we know really it's something that I've been doing for so many times with coding, and I find it, this process really needs AI tools, and
Mhm.
it's not process about talking to people, having a coffee chat, etc. So we can't replace these things with AI. We can replace AI with we can replace repetitive, boring tasks with AI, but not that other part, that where we talk to each other, because we have minds and AI don't have minds. We have hearts, AI don't have hearts. So we need to find which thing that need more mind, and you let AI do that while documenting it, and then let us do the hard thing.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That's so smart. Now, I will also say that, um, both of you have talked a bit about balance. It's really important to have balance between those processes that are more complex and sort of human-centered, and then those processes that can be automated because they're repetitive in nature, right? So many automations are unattended in nature, meaning they're implemented by an IT team and they run behind the scenes. They move data between back-end systems. And robots are now increasingly attended. So what that means is that it requires some form of human interaction where bots work side by side with humans to help them perform the tasks more efficiently. And that is a great example of this hybrid solution that we're now seeing. Again, many automations are unattended, but there are more AI and automated processes that now interact with human oversight. So, for example, in a real-time phone call with a client, bots can support the call center agent by running queries and delivering purchase histories to assist in that conversation and upsell efforts. So what tasks can be fully automated, and what tasks do you believe require human assistance and oversight still? Can you give us some good examples of things that you do think can be fully automated on the back end and unattended, and then those things that still require some sort of human intervention and oversight? So, Erlene, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think one great example of things that can be fully automated that don't necessarily need the ongoing oversight of a human directly is like email marketing and all of the email strict. You've got your email series that's been set up, and it goes through a series of automated steps to know, okay, now here's the next thing to do. But then on the flip side of that, it also has built into it the, hey, human, you need to pay attention now, and there's a time that you need to engage, as opposed to just letting it, letting AI now continue to pick up that conversation. And again, it's at that point where now you're building relationship beyond the, I sent an email and I didn't get a response, so I sent another email, or I have a series that I'm sending out so that they get ongoing information. And that's one of those things, you don't need to spend your time making sure all of those emails got sent out, but having the way to be able to not be notified, the, hey, you need to pay attention now, is also an important point in that automation. So it still comes back to, there's still a need for the human element there, but a good amount of it can be automated. And then it just is the human notification of, okay, now it's time for you to come back and pay attention.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great example. Prima, what about you? What tasks
I
do you
think
believe can be fully automated? And Erlene gave a great example about outbound marketing. That could be social media, that could be email marketing, that could be text marketing, any kind of outbound marketing. But what tasks should still require human assistance and oversight, do you think?
drawing graphs for reporting when you have a dashboard. I think drawing graphs or doing flow charts, etc. Let AI do that, and we do the conclusion. What do the graph represent? What do the flow charts represent? How much is the statistics for this department, for that department? What's the profit for this department? Because people spend like I know somebody who works like till 11 p.m. just to make that these statistics right, just to be able to draw a conclusion. But if we use AI to do these kind of graphs and we just draw the conclusion, I think it's the best part of our job.
I love that. That is really, really smart. Thank you so much for the good example. So last automation question, then we're going to open it up for discussion. Now, this is by no means the least question. This is perhaps the most important question when you're thinking about AI integration and automation. And it involves thinking about the organizations, the business's overall goals. So, think about what is it that you're intending to do? Are you aiming to cut costs? Do you want to accelerate turnaround times? Do you want to save time for employees to focus on high value tasks? Are you looking to create a quicker response time to your customers? So I feel like you have to consider how automation sits within your overall digital transformation journey. Is it just automation or AI tools that you need? Or is it automation of just one component in a wider strategy towards a greater automation goal? That could include things like process discovery, process documentation and management, workflow, analytics. So I understand that once in motion, it can be really difficult to change platforms or vendors, to integrate between them. So considering who you're working with, if they're going to be able to help you achieve your broader automation and efficiency goals, and whether or not those systems are scalable for your business over time is just really important. So what are some of the business outcomes that you should expect with automation and AI integration? And how do you help your customers really focus on the overall goals of the organization, whether that's cost containment, accelerating turnaround times, focusing on high value tasks, et cetera? How do you begin to prioritize those things? So Erlene, let's start with you.
As I think about, I think there's a couple things. One starts with where are you in your business now? And where are you looking to go? So again, you hit on several of the reasons that you're looking at why you might automate. What is, are you cutting costs or turnaround time, any of those kinds of things. But where you are now versus where you're going later is important to recognize so that you can look at the thing that helps you go to the next step most quickly now. And then the next step after that. So to think that you have to have it all now means that you are planning for what you don't know about the future. Focusing on where you are today and what automation can help you go to the next goal and then the next goal after that, and looking at how you create that roadmap, I think is the way that Prima talked about it a little earlier, is not trying to automate everything all at once, not trying to go do everything, but instead taking one step at a time. And it is what is the most important goal for your growth of your business today, and then looking at the next steps after that and creating that roadmap that takes you well beyond the what do I need now versus what do I need later.
Yeah, I love that. That's really smart, Erlene. Thank you. Prima, what about you? What are some of the most important ways that you help guide and direct your clients to those organizational goals that they're trying to attain, and where automation and AI can be useful?
So I strongly believe in documentation. I believe all the processes should be well documented, and then you just draw something with these processes. So what do you have in this process? What do you have in this process? And what is your final goal, for example? what is your final goal, and which task do you think that you are taking much time, or which task do you think that you can't manage, for example, and which is the easiest one which we can put into an automation thing, just to speed up the process, because finally all businesses aim at profitability, right? So we should do the proper documentation for all the processes and discuss well, because you just can't pick up an AI tool and just, oh, I will put that in my business. You can't do that, because this single process is very much integrated with other processes. So you should for me, documentation is the key. So you should really document for anything that pertains to a process, and then meet that guy who can help you do something, automate, or tell you not to automate, or tell you to do something else, things like this.
I love that. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. I am incredibly grateful for your expertise and creating such an impactful discussion today. I'm going to turn off the recording and open it up for discussion, just so that we can talk about some of these things. We've got Virginia, Deanne, Lisa with us. I'd love to hear any questions that they have, as well as any comments. I know that Deanne is really an operations and process guru, so I'd love to get her take on this as well. So let me stop